All right, Dieter and Hutch, Sans Hutch, breaking down 49ers and Raiders preseason week 2. Listen, we're not going to pretend as if the outcome of that game matters at all. We're not going to pretend as if Jake Moody didn't miss a 52, 53-yarder. Never had a chance. Some ups, some downs. We're back in kicker hell. We're having fun with it. The outcome of the game is the 49ers won. That does not matter. What matters is the studs and duds from this game. And I found far more studs than duds. It might shock some of the longtime viewers, the true sickos here. I found a lot of really positive things to glean from this game. And with Moody redeeming himself, I think we're in an even better spot. So I think that the Niners can feel pretty good coming out of this game, and then also feel pretty bad because Dominic Pooney, their starting right guard, injures what Kyle Shanahan said is his PCL. He's going to be out a couple of weeks. The question here, Careless Whispers of Kyle's playbook, why is Pooney on special teams during the preseason? Because Pooney's on special teams in the full season, and they are practicing special teams this year in earnest, and it's not as if they have enough offensive linemen to fill that role. Like, it would be nice if with a 90-man roster, you could run the second team on all things that have some real risk or whatever. That'd be nice, but that's not how things work. You need to get some practice at true kick coverage and, kick blocking. And that's just a bad break. It's a terrible break because the duds in this game for me, and this was something that was being noted, at least in my crazy notebook beforehand, is Nick Sakelj had another disastrous game. They've been rolling him out there at left guard, trying him at right guard. It was a tough scene for Nick Sakelj. It was a tough game for Matt Hennessy, the center who could play some guard. I thought Connor Colby had some ups and some downs. He's a 7th round rookie. You're going to expect ups and downs. And then I didn't even get to the Drew Moss of it all, right? I had to go I had to go right and set this up and all this stuff. So I didn't get to see Drew Moss if he played at all. The fact that he hadn't played up until the point when I kind of turned the game off or at least put it on in the background is a little bit concerning that he's not in a position to step up and give you any snaps. As it stands now, the 49ers are down their top 2 guards. That's Ben Barch, who injured his elbow in practice on Tuesday. I have no time frame for when he's coming back. And now Pooney, who may be week 1, that's the best case scenario, is he shows up right there for week 1. And your replacements are Connor Colby and Nick Sakelj. I know that maybe this is why Aaron Banks got $77 million, right? Like, when I talk about the offensive line position being at its lowest point, the nadir perhaps in the history of the NFL, this is what I'm talking about. Because it's not just the 49ers who have issues like this. Again, when you're in a world where Aaron Banks, who was the weak link on the 49ers' average at best offensive line last year, is getting $77 million. When you're in a world where Colton McKivitz is certainly a $15 million a year player, when that has happened, clearly everybody has issues getting offensive linemen. The 49ers are no different. They like to think they can develop them, but they have rolled out Sakelj for years. One, because he was the Ross Dwelly to Brock Purdy's George Kittle, right? He was a good vibes guy. He's your Giannis. Giannis Antetokounmpo. We're going to try to pronounce that some other time. He's there as a totem. And then now you need him. And last year, to be fair, Sakelj gave you some good snaps. But in this preseason, when it has been boom or bust, like he should be on the fringe of the roster, it has been bust. And I've been bullish on the 49ers offensive line. There's not much reason to be bullish about the guard position right now. The team should not be built out of a Ben Barch, right? Make the entire plane out of the black box. You can't make an entire offensive line out of a Ben Barch. I'm a big Barch fan, but he can't be the linchpin of your team having offensive success. Let's go into the good stuff. Purdy, it's like riding a bike, baby. In rhythm, making stuff happen. He looked great. He looked poised. Brock Purdy haters take a day off. Ricky Pearsall doing exactly what we have seen from Ricky Pearsall all camp. Vitally necessary, it should be noted, given that he should have been the fourth receiver on this team in an ideal world. Now he's your one. He looks every bit of one. He looks like a guy who can get 100 targets and give you 1,000 yards this season. Ricky Pearsall looks like somebody who's actually practiced football for the first time in a couple years now, right? Let's never forget, and I will bring it up until everyone knows this. Ricky Pearsall has like 5 NFL practices under his belt coming into this training camp because he was injured almost all of last training camp. Obviously, the gunshot keeps him out for the first 7-8 weeks of the season. And when he came back, you're not practicing anymore. You're not practicing at that point in the NFL. You do some walkthroughs. You talk about what you're going to do, but you're not practicing in earnest in the NFL halfway through a season, which is why Pearsall, for all of his ability to win in man-to-man, which was vital in the very late stages of last season because nobody else had done it up until that point. Like, for all of that, he was still not understanding where he should be lined up. He was still not running routes to the depth with the timing that Brock Purdy wanted. And he's doing both of those things right now. I know it seems small, but the dude has all the physical abilities that you can want, save for maybe being a little bit bigger. Certainly has the ability to get open, work the open field. He can really do some stuff. But now he knows what the hell he's doing. And this is the result. It's been like this every day at practice that I've seen him. It's been like that apparently even before I was able to show up at practice. Like, you saw it on the field today. You need to find a hotel room 100 miles away from any football field, give him a bunch of goldfish crackers and a couple DVDs, and tell him to stay the hell away until week 1 in Seattle. Nothing can happen to Ricky Pearsall. We protect him with our life around these parts because he is the offense right now. And you saw how the 49ers ran the ball early. It got a little bit better once the Raiders put in their second stringers. There's a lot to be excited about when we're talking about Purdy to Pearsall, especially too when you consider that in a few weeks into the season, that shouldn't have to be the only thing they have. But as it stands now, Ricky Pearsall is kind of the only thing they have. Let's give out a shout, though, to Isaiah Hodgkins and Russell Gage, who look good in this game. And two things that stood out for me for those guys is they blocked their asses off. That stuff matters. And Kyle Shanahan is going to go with the guys who help you win reps, even when the reps don't involve you running a route and catching a ball. So Hodgkins has a chance. He shouldn't have, but with all the injuries, he has a chance of making this team. I think Gage is locked in on this team. I think he is going to fill the Chris Conley role. He's been doing well on special teams. Great catch today. Great blocks today. Russell Gage, I mean, I don't want to build him up into something that he's not, but that's a win for the 49ers right now. They needed to fill a role, that Chris Conley role, that even going back like Emmanuel Sanders role, Sands the special teams there. The sage veteran receiver, Gage is the sage on this squad. I wish I could say nice things about Corey Kiner. It was a hell of a run, but then he twists his ankle and the beat goes on with this 49ers team. Who else did I like? I mean, we'll talk about Nick Martin in a second because he was neither a stud nor a dud, but he is an agent of chaos. A clear dud for me in this game was Jair Brown. I had a bunch of negatives on him today. It was a brutal watch. It started with the same way that George Kittle has been dunking on Jair Brown repeatedly in practice every day. There was a stretch where I don't know what was going on, but Kyle just decided to run the same play 3 times in a row, and each time it was Kittle versus Jair Brown, and 3 times in a row, Kittle just absolutely wrecked him, stole the man's soul. It's over for him. It's over for him. I don't think they're going to cut him because I don't think that they have a strong enough conviction with the rest of the safeties to move on from him, but it's over. The first thing he showed you was the best thing he showed you. It's a real shame because he has a lot of physical talent. I can't quite explain the drop-off, but, I mean, Brock Bowers sunned him. That's the end for Jair Brown. And by the way, it didn't get any better after that. You can chalk up, it's preseason. It's professional football. It's Brock Bowers. Like, everybody is entitled to bad reps, right? Brock Bowers, who was what, second in the NFL in receptions last year, suns you, mosses you. Okay, fair enough. Stuff happens. He's done it to a lot of people. Then Jair Brown proceeded to just be out of position repeatedly, get absolutely run over repeatedly. Ashton Genty just ran over him to get into the end zone. I got like 527 negatives here in this, and I can't even remember all the bad plays from Jair Brown because, well, there were too many of them to count. Who else? I mentioned Hennessy. We need more Nuge in our life. I know that I'm the leader of the Nuge bandwagon, but Matt Hennessy ain't it, baby. Not to overdo it with preseason, but like Matt Hennessy had a disastrous first preseason game, and today he was quite bad as well. A tough one for Matt Hennessy. I just don't think he's it. Gibson, the defensive end. You have to have a Gibson on the 49ers at all time. Tyron Gibson, Travis, forgive me, forget Gibson's first name. He just showed up on the team. He's going to make the team if that's how he plays every day from here on out. That was a hell of a performance from 56 Gibson. For a team that really needs anybody on the defensive end to give you good snaps in the preseason, I thought Gibson was good today. Let's talk about our favorite subject on the show. Let's talk about our friend, Nick Martin. There was a stretch of 4 plays on the Raiders' 4th drive of the game where Martin missed a tackle, just absolutely whiffed on a tackle, proceeded to then make an extremely nice one-on-one tackle in the open field. They ran an over route to Jack Beach on a 3rd and 5, 1st and 10, and a massive missed open field tackle on Sincere McCormick from Nick Martin. This was the Nick Martin experience in full. He is an agent of chaos. And I'll tell you what, the most impressive thing I saw on the field today was Nick Martin's explosion. The least impressive thing I saw on the field today was Nick Martin playing football. It can work. I'm not telling you it can't work. It's better than it was last week, that's for sure. Not that there was anywhere to go but up. But my goodness, it is exhausting watching him play football. I can't keep up because his explosion is preternatural. His explosion is legitimately elite at the NFL level. When he goes and no one puts a hand on him, it's over. The problem is you get a hand on him and he disappears because he's 5'11", 220, maybe. I think Nick Martin needs to see every snap, just all of the snaps against the Chargers, because I can't trust that you can put him in an NFL game at the regular season level right now. But we need to see more of him. I want to see more of him. I understand the allure, and the downside is equal. He is an agent of chaos. The idea, I like this. Kayla's Whispers of Kyle's Playbook's on fire today. Greenlaw was the same way, just bigger. Yeah, that whole bigger thing is the important part, though. I have no problem with being an agent of chaos as a weak side linebacker. You should be out there picking shit up, right? Azeez Al-Shaair was the same way. Go out there and mess stuff up. Be an agent of chaos. And if you're going to miss some, that's fine. Get as many as you miss. The big plays will they'll outweigh the negative plays. And if you can minimize the negative plays, if you can miss the tackle, but at least slow the guy down, hey, that's all good because you're a defense that's supposed to be swarming. But when you are as small as Martin is, and you're just an agent of chaos, the issue that I have is if someone gets a hand on you, it's over. And so what you're doing is you're overshooting everything because if you don't get there first, you don't participate in the play. And patience is a virtue at the linebacker position. You have to see, you have to be patient, and then you have to hit. Then you have to explode. There has to be distinction. There has to be conviction. And right now, he's just going for the sake of going. And that is a characteristic that absolutely can be worked out of him, right? Because if it hits, it's spectacular. It's awesome. It's so much fun. We're 2 games into the preseason. It has not hit. There was more good. I think there was a lot of bad on this film. People will look at the good and say, oh, he's fantastic. I don't think you can put him in a regular season NFL game right now. I don't know when. I don't know what you need to see in the final 2 weeks of the preseason to feel comfortable putting him in the preseason or a regular season NFL game. But It was interesting, man. I mean, it was a great sack. No one touched him. Great blitz, exploded. The play before that absolutely exploded. I mean, missed the run fit, but he exploded. But he had also two just total whiffs on one-on-one situations on the sideline, and then at the same time, had a good hit on Genty, blows up Raheem Mostert. It's exhausting. It's just totally exhausting watching this guy play football. I wouldn't have taken him at 75. Doesn't matter where you would or wouldn't have taken him now. Can the Niners take him on the 48-man roster for week 1 against Seattle? I don't think so. By the way, I'm not seeing, and I'll look a little closer to be fair, but I'm not seeing some special teams ace either, right? Because special teams oftentimes played in closed quarters combat. That's not his skill set. You need him in the open field flying around. Frankly, he should be playing safety. I don't think he's fast enough, but I saw Jamal Adams is out there playing linebacker for the Raiders. He should probably still be playing. We're in a very weird spot with the safety and linebacker position at the NFL. Let's talk about another safety. Marquise Siegel's a revelation. He's got to start week 1. I don't play him against the Chargers, and I start him in week 1. He's shown me enough. I would like, if I'm nitpicking, I would have liked to seen more opportunities with him in the open field and Geno Smith pushing it. No one's challenged him in the pass game yet, at least deep. Everything that's been in front of him, though, he has been marvelous at. It's not been perfect, but he's been marvelous. And the difference between good and great at the safety position at the NFL level these days is the ability to diagnose, attack with straight line speed, and deliver a thump. I mean, that's Marquise Siegel's game to a T right now. And he is a rookie who looks like he has been out there forever. It is preseason. He is going up against second teams. He looks like he's the best player on the field against second teams. He's got to be at least a playable first teamer for me then. Right? Maybe transitive property doesn't apply, but he has been magnificent so far in the preseason. Kevin Allen saying Siegel is better than Emanwari. I've watched a lot. I watched that Seahawks game yesterday. Let me tell you, sleep on the Seahawks at your own peril. I'll be blunt, loving what I'm seeing from Seattle right now. They are a magnificent bet at plus 550 to win the NFC West. Magnificent. Highly recommend you watch their game against the Chiefs. Now, to be fair, Chiefs didn't play anybody. Seahawks brought it. That does matter. But watch that first drive with Sam Darnold under center on offense. And then you watch this Seahawks defense. They are looking like a Mike McDonald unit. And Emanwari's playing the star position. And that's a very tricky one to diagnose as to what, is he doing well or not? Because it's a unique spot. There's but 3 or 4 guys in the NFL who they would be willing to play at the star position. Maybe Siegel's one of those guys. That's what I thought would be his initial role, sort of a quasi Sam linebacker, safety. They're putting Emanwari in the box, and they're letting him cover tight ends. They're letting him cover running backs. They're putting him out wide. I mean, they're doing some cool stuff with him, and that's their vanilla packages. I think Seattle's in a really interesting spot. I don't think Emanwari would have been a very good pick for the 49ers because the 49ers don't do exotic things like that, right? What's exotic for the 49ers is we're running a stunt. What's exotic for the 49ers, like the 49ers don't run, even with, this is, again, with Robert Saleh, like they're not running cover 8 or cover 6. They'll give you 4. They'll give you 3. They'll mug the A gap like they did a couple times today. But they are pretty meat and potatoes defense. No problem with that whatsoever. Mike McDonald is anything but meat and potatoes. He is a 7 tasting course meal, right? He's avant-garde defense. And Nick Emanwari is a undefinable safety. So I think both teams got exactly what they needed with their day 2, day 3 safety picks, because Siegel, I think, is the perfect fit for what the 49ers need, given what we've seen and given the need that they had for somebody on the back end. And this is not to take anything away from Malik Mustafa, but they needed the quarterback back there. Let Malik see and kill. Let him be a destroyer, but they need somebody to be the cerebral safety, which is why they've always had veterans. Siegel, by all accounts, and we've talked about this on the channel before, is that guy, that he is ready to go as the quarterback of the defense. Apologies to Fred Warner and all the great players, but as the guy who is furthest back, sees it, diagnoses it, defines the play, he is ready to take on that role today. Mentally, there's nothing that's getting past this kid. And physically, he looks the part. Total malpractice from the Kansas State coaches, by the way, because not an ounce of this, save for maybe closing speed, showed up on film at Kansas State. And I liked a lot of what Kansas State's defense did last year. I was a big Jacob Parrish fan. Sounds like he's doing great in Tampa Bay right now. But a shame and a pox upon the Kansas State defensive coaching staff, because Marquise Siegel should be a day one starter in the NFL. Mind you, all he has to do is beat out Jason Pittek and Richie Grant and Jair Brown. Jair Brown, who would certainly, I know he's not, I guess he'd be on waivers. I don't really know the ins and outs of that. I don't really bother myself with the ins and outs of waivers and things of that nature. But I don't think the Niners will cut him. I think they should cut him. I don't think they will, because they're a little bit cowardly on that front, and that they would rather get cute and try to get somebody veteran down to the practice squad or something like that. I'll say this, though. With the way that Brown's playing, Siegel has to be the starter. But Siegel deserves to be the starter with the way he's playing. So that's a really positive sign for the 49ers. What else do we want? Let me just go through the chats here. Larry, all-pro Nick Martin. Listen, he might be Pro Bowl given the standard of Pro Bowl. By the way, Pro Bowl quarterback Mac Jones was fine today. The pick was rough, but here we go. What do I need to see in the final preseason game? I don't need to see Purdy. I don't need to see Kittle. Ironically, I want to have both of those guys because I do want to get a better read on what's happening at the guard position and see if you have somebody. What I definitely want to see is a lot of Drew Moss against the Chargers. And I want to see a lot of Drew Moss at practice this week. I think that you have more reps is not what you need from Nick Sakelj right now. There's nothing more for him to he's gotten every opportunity to prove it. I don't need to see any more. Connor Colby needs the reps. He's going to get them. Let Drew Moss get the reps so that at least you have an idea on if he can play for you in week one. Because you can take the floor with Sakelj. It's a low floor, but you can take it. But you know where the ceiling is too, and it's barely higher than that floor. At least Moss gives you the potential to be something more. I don't know if they would be willing to risk two rookies at guard in the opening game against a Mike McDonald defense. Jesus Christ. That is just going to be, well, you saw what happened when he had the Ravens defensive personnel on Christmas in 2023. That was like a terrible Christmas. I mean, I don't care if the 49ers win or lose on a personal level. I just want it to be interesting. I want good stuff to talk about. I'm emotionally invested in watching high quality football, but if the 49ers win or lose, it doesn't personally affect me. That game personally affected me because, we all took time out of Christmas Day to watch that pile of shit. Not excited to see what Mike McDonald has for the 49ers in week one. Well, I'm kind of excited because I'm a dork. But from a 49ers perspective, like, I think we need to be putting up our antennas a little bit more here, people, as to the clear and present danger that Seattle poses to the 49ers in week one. Niners are currently 2.5-point road favorites. I wouldn't bet it if you gave me the money. Wouldn't bet it if you gave me the money. We're going to have a lot of time to talk about it, so let's leave that where it is. Alfred Collins today. Yeah, that is the correct emoji, JW. Nothing that I saw from Collins today shocked me, surprised me, good or bad. I thought that there were fine enough reps. He wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. But his inability to disengage, which is something we knew very well coming in, is concerning. Concerning. It could get there, could not. But he is in a 4-3 gap shooting scheme. To not be able to disengage is kind of a big deal because he's not a gap shooter. He doesn't have that kind of explosion off the line. So he's going to hit off the snap. Can he get loose after that? And to this point, I've seen no evidence that he can. Dieter, you don't bet anymore. We could do a little bit of story time. There was a stretch a little more than 10 years ago where I was consistently hopping on a boat from my home in Fort Lauderdale to go to the island of Bimini to place legal sports bets on college football. I was also working as a legitimate journalist, so we can worry about the ethical ramifications of that later. Regardless, I made far more, riding the boat to Bimini than I did as a sports reporter for the South Florida Sun Sentinel. I also put on roughly 100 pounds because I was stress drinking through the games. Less than ideal. I have still been known to throw down a wager or two, but I'm kind of out. The toxicity that I see and hear in the states where betting is legalized is too much for me to openly promote, I suppose. I very much enjoy the numbers of it. I enjoy what the bookies tell you. I enjoy the concept of, looking into prop bets and things like that. But as for laying down money, no, I'll rather gamble on the stock market, gamble on a 529 account for my kids, gamble towards paying my electric bill, all of those things, and not feel the stress because I have no control over the outcome. As much as I have been extremely lucrative, I'm not a smart man, but I'm just smart enough to get out while I'm ahead, and I am way ahead. So we're out. I will still give gambling advice, and then I will sit and watch it come true and get very frustrated that I didn't do it, but I've gotten over that over the years. So I don't lay down the dollars anymore. And let me tell you, it's a son of a bitch closing out 48 Bovada accounts. We'll leave it at that. It is absolutely brutal. The stress of it all. I am too tightly wound a person on things that don't matter to play that game on things that, does money matter? I mean, you're making as little as I was making for a very long period of time. And by the way, you can fix that by becoming an official sicko. But I don't want to put that up to risk off of someone, Jake Moody missing a field goal. That's no way to live. And this is absolutely correct. Sicko territory. It was 48 Bovada accounts. I might have that number a little bit wrong, but it was a ton of them. And then a bunch of other accounts in a bunch of other different places. But I have been known to give some good advice on NBA futures bets. I have certainly done a lot of conversation about, NFL betting. I still think about it every week. I'm still ready with the work that I do with film study and numbers and just, gut feels. I could still place an entire week's worth of bets with ease. And I tracked it last year for a bunch of times, and I was up big, but I'm not doing it because it ain't worth the stress. If I'm going to be wrong, I'd rather just know that than have to feel that, if you catch my drift. And again, I see too many of, I just see too many men completely overwhelmed by it. It's ruining the game, if we're being honest. I mean, you talk to folks on the East Coast where it is almost entirely legalized, and they can't have a conversation about football anymore. They have a conversation about prop betting. It's bastardized the game. It's like microtransactions in video games. I used to love playing video games. I mean, I got older and had kids and stuff, and it's not something that I can really do anymore just because of a time constraint. Got to talk to you guys, but the microtransactions, it's not fun. It's not fun, even when I do try. It's kind of like that with sports. Like I enjoy watching the games. If I don't enjoy watching the game, I don't think putting a little bit of action on it's going to up my enjoyment. It will up my interest, but it won't up my enjoyment, and I enjoy it plenty as it is. We'll leave it at that. I agree with this, Mashed Eggs. I thought Burford did look good today. I thought Austin Pleasance looked awful. And I have to issue a mea culpa here. I fell prey. I mentioned this on the stream with Larry. I feel so stupid every year. Because I do it every fucking year. At OTAs and minicamp, there is no hitting. They're not playing football. They're playing 7-on-7. They're playing flag football. And in that environment, the fastest, quickest guys look awesome because there's no threat to die. And at the core of football, we have to be honest, is the core threat of death. And that it brings out the best and it brings out the worst. It's the reason we can't look away. People watch NASCAR for the crashes. We watch football for the same thing. Just a lot of people don't know how to put their finger on it. It's gladiatorial. So when you see Jacob Cowing, who admittedly looked larger, out there just running crisp out routes, oh, he looked good. That's a little bit of fool's gold. And then when I see Austin Pleasance just moving, and I think about all of the 49ers offensive linemen who have had success before, and then you just think, man, this guy could be a real diamond in the rough. And then they start playing real football, and you realize, oh, there's a reason this guy's been on 8 teams. Because they see that when he's not actually getting hit, they see that movement ability. They see that punch. They see a lot of positive things. And then they actually have to play football, and suddenly he's not very good. So I fell prey to it. The eye candy got me. I think it got me with Cowing too, though we don't have any real evidence to this point. Just the fact that he hasn't done anything since he's been back is somewhat telling, but not the full story. Listen, Pleasance will give you a couple of good snaps. There have been positives, but there were some real negatives. And my issue is that I expect him to be a terrible pass blocker. I expect that. That's how the 49ers treat their right tackle position, after all. But if he's not a good run blocker, what is it you do here? Like, what are we doing if Austin Pleasance, guy with incredible lateral foot speed, guy who should be able to get out, get hands on you, drive you to the ground because he's moving faster than you and he's bigger and stronger than you. If he, when moving sideways and moving forward, can't run block well, he has no value at the NFL level. Now, it could have just been a bad game, but it didn't look very good. Didn't look very good to me in game 1. Hasn't looked very good in some practices. And now you have this game where, I mean, he just whiffed on a bunch of them. They were trying to run behind him. He whiffed. There were a couple of, nice cuts and things. He had a really bad game. He had a really bad game. Burford looked really, really solid. Wasn't perfect, but it was really solid. Here's where it stands now. Burford's the swing tackle. I don't know if that can reasonably change. I don't know what anyone could do. Burford, Pleasance, Prince, random guy on the street, me, you, Joe Staley if he wants to come out of retirement. I don't know what anyone could do to unseat Burford as the swing tackle, because I don't think that they can bring Pleasance onto the roster as a straight right tackle. I don't think it's worth the trouble. And if they have that notion in their mind, they can cut him, practice squad him, because I don't think anyone's watching that film of him against the Raiders and saying, we got to bring this guy in, even with the current state of offensive line. Even worse than Prince, I couldn't tell you. Here's what I know. They replaced him for Prince mid-drive. I didn't hear about an injury. Kyle didn't say an injury. They replaced him mid-drive. Doesn't seem ideal. Doesn't seem great, but he had just whiffed on 2 run blocks. He stonewalled this guy on Mac Jones's INT. Everyone's entitled to a good rep. There were plenty more worse ones. Yeah, all right. I might miss that. Did Cowing play today? Not that I saw. Is Stone Blanton going to make this team? No. I'll answer the question bluntly. No. I only have one note on Stone Blanton. Let me find it here. It was, they were on a kickoff return coverage, and Stone Blanton almost got Junior Bergen killed. Special teams matters, folks. If you're a depth guy and you're not contributing on special teams, you're losing tiebreakers, right? If you're not high on the depth chart and you want to make a 53-man roster, there's only one way to do it, and it's to be really good at special teams. And there's no evidence that Stone Blanton is very good at special teams. The linebacker core, as it stands, is going to be obviously Fred. D. Winters is going to start, even though, I mean, he had a nice play. D. Winters is still a total question mark. We have no idea if D. Winters is good or not. Just because he's better than the rest doesn't mean that he's good. You have Luke Gifford, who's going to be your Sam linebacker and special teams ace. You have Tatum Bethune, who is now your backup Mike, who's looked good. Tatum Bethune's looked good. Didn't look as good today as he did in week 1, but he's looked good. And then it's got to be Nick Martin, because there's just enough to where you can't. I joked that they were going to Cam Latu him, but there's more than enough in this game to be like, oh, there's something there. I don't know if we'll ever see it this year. I don't know if we'll ever see it ever. But that explosion is crazy. And you see it at practice. That's the killer. You do see it at practice. Then again, he's practicing against the San Francisco 49ers, so who knows? Chosen's not going to make the team. Not with the way that Gage and Hodgins have been playing. And I think the Bergen situation is that they got to carry him. Now, they can go with 6 wide receivers, but I think they got to carry him. And then Lucas is going to be interesting. I think you do. I think you keep him, because I haven't seen anything from Saran Neal, who I don't even know what position the guy plays. Is he a linebacker? Is he a safety? Is he a cornerback? I haven't seen anything from him that tells me that he's someone you want on your 53. I know they gave him a good deal of money, and he is playing first team kick coverage and punt coverage and stuff. He wasn't in practice the other day. I marked that down. He was in this game, so that's more telling to me. But I haven't seen anything from Saran Neal that says, oh, this guy's got to be on the team. This guy's a valuable player. I mean, George Odom was doing more. So it's nice that Saleh likes him, filthy casual. But can he use him? I don't care who's liked. I care about who's useful. And Chase Lucas, he's clearly useful. He's making plays. And you need a backup nickel. Now, the question with Lucas is, you can't let Lucas leave the building. The question is, can you let him leave the 53-man roster? And at this point, with the way that he's played in preseason and the difficulty that a vast majority of teams in the NFL have in filling the nickelback role, I don't think that the Niners can afford to put him out there. You can try to, put him up at the Hilton. Hey, we're going to give you the presidential suite for a couple days. Just hang here. We're going to make some roster moves. Probably get you back on the 53. We're going to practice squad you and call you up. We're going to make something happen for you. I don't think they can do that. I don't think they can risk that at this point. Whereas a guy like Saran Neal, is he worth $2 million to this team? There's no evidence of that. He doesn't seem to be a standout on special teams from what I've seen in practice or in the games. And those two guys are fighting for one spot. I mean, it's pretty clear who should get it. If the Niners want to get cute and they think they can get away with it, more power to them. I don't think they can. I got no intel on that. I haven't asked around. But it is, I would say that Chase Lucas makes the 53 from the jump, that there's no funny business and that they do the funny business somewhere else. And these things take care of themselves to a degree. But when you have a rookie who's as small as Upton Stout, to not have in-house a backup would be malpractice. Now, this is a very good point from keeping the faith. Lucas should stay on the team, but Lenore is the automatic nickel. Number 2, if Stout goes down. I don't know. I mean, he should be the nickel 1. It's not as if Upton Stout is better than him at nickel. He's really good at nickel. I don't know what kind of gentleman's agreements, because it wouldn't be a contractual one. I don't know what kind of gentleman's agreements were brokered in that very team-friendly deal that Diamador Lenore signed. But, I got to wonder if he'll ever play nickel again for this team, unless it's like an emergency situation. And given how he played outside today, I mean, Thornton burned him easy I was never been the biggest fan of Lenore on the outside. I'm not saying he can't do it. His value was on the inside, and I don't think he plays the inside again. I just don't. And I think that was a mistake. Now, luckily, they got Stout, who looks to be the real deal. And luckily, they have Chase Lucas, who is performing very well. He was garbage last year. He was performing very well in camp and in the preseason. So they're in a good spot. But their depth chart's screwed up because the guy who's best at it is playing on the outside, won't go back inside. The number 2 is a rookie who's playing as the number 1, who's probably too small to hold up over the course of the season. And then your number 3, I don't know if you can sneak him onto the roster or not because, well, you got to keep a $2 million special teams man. So I can tell you full out, Demo does not prefer to play on the inside. He wants to be on the outside because the outside guys get the glory. The outside guys get known as the shutdown artists. The outside guys get a lot of run in the pro. Oh, yeah, he's so good. That's cool. That's cool. He was arguably the best nickelback in the NFL. So we're kind of in a Jonathan Kuminga situation. Do you want to be the best role player or do you want to be the worst superstar? We might find out. Womack will surely make it through waivers. That's what they thought last year. Exactly right, Sean Z. That's what they thought. This is a great question from Mashed Eggs. Is the double mug on every third and medium a preseason thing, or is that coming to the regular season? I wish I could give you the straight up answer, but it is absolutely every third and medium on the regular season. This is why I joke like about the meat and potatoes. Maybe that's a pun with Mashed Eggs here. The meat and potatoes nature of a Robert Saleh defense. Like, really? That's as interesting as you're getting. We're going to double mug on predictable downs. It looks a lot better when Fred Warner's doing it, though. Looks a lot better when Drake Greenlaw's out there doing it. Not that that's going to happen this year. It is. It's all about the quality. There's a lot of schematic positive things to say from a meat and potatoes defense, but it all comes down to the dudes. And when you are playing this many young guys, particularly on the defensive line, when you have this many question marks on a defense, you end up in some murky territory. Do not expect the 49ers defense to hit the ground running. And I don't know what its ceiling can be this year, but it has a pretty good amount of potential, but it has some real bust potential as well. Helps to have Fred Warner, helps to have Nick Bosa. I thought Bryce Huff looked good today. We'll see what D Winters is. I feel like we just got gaslit a little bit here. And it's not to say that D Winters won't be really good, but there's no evidence to this point that D Winters is a viable plus NFL starter at weak side linebacker. We're just presuming because he got a little bigger and because he's looked good in training camp to a certain degree that he's just ready to be Dre Greenlaw. I mean, it's a pretty high bar, and that he's ready to be a starter, which is not as high of a bar, but like nothing he's ever proven before. If this guy was so goddamn good, how come Devondre Campbell had to play so much last year? And I can appreciate that you get better year over year, but man, not quite sure. Not quite sure that everything is hunky-dory at weak side linebacker right now. It's good to have some depth. They got some depth. A lot of question marks, but depth, nevertheless. They at least have the dudes. And, the Winters thing, he had a really nice play today. Didn't play enough for me to get a good read. I think that the Niners are just acting on a level of presumption that he's going to be the man. And there's no alternative. There's no viable alternative, so I guess he'll have to be. But just because he's the best of this group for weak side linebacker doesn't mean that he stacks up at the position across the league. I mean, again, has the run defense improved as a team? No evidence to that. And for D Winters, how would we know? Again, good stop today. It's one play. Bethune has been fantastic in preseason. That's a guy who the last 2 or 1, I can't remember if it's his second or his third year, but in his previous preseason performances, right? And that's all you're really getting from him. I've been happy to call him out as really bad. He was, and he's been really good. This is a guy who's made a leap. You can get better. You can get better at the NFL level. You're a 7th-round draft pick who was taken on the spec of really smart, wants to get in there, all these things. The game's going to be too fast for you. That's fine. It's not to say that it'll work out for everybody, right? This is not to say, hey, it's all going to work out for Nick Martin, but you can get better. You should get better. Everyone should get better. Ricky Pearsall's better in year 2 than he was in year 1. Good coaches and good players get better. Tatum Bethune has gotten better. Tatum Bethune's never going to be a Pro Bowler. Tatum Bethune's never going to be an All-Pro. Tatum Bethune should never be an NFL starter unless something's gone horribly wrong. But he should be on an NFL roster, and that really says something. He's gotten markedly better. So I think Kevin's right. I mean, the linebacker room can't be as bad as it was last year. I have no indication. I think it's going to be okay. But it all hinges on if D. Winters is in fact okay. And I don't think that anyone can affirmatively say that right now. I really don't. Any chance Bethune sees a starting spot? No. That is strictly because of his size. I don't think you can play him at will because he's not that kind of sideline to sideline. He doesn't have the explosion of a Martin. He doesn't have the explosion of a Winters, and that's what they're looking for. So they play him in the middle. That's fine. Backup Mike, which, by the way, is a role that he's taken from Gifford. But Gifford's going to be your Sam because when you play a 4-3 over, you're putting that guy on the end of the line. You have to set the edge. And Tatum Bethune might want it, but he's not any bigger than he was last year, at least to my eye. And he was never going to be a big guy. Whereas Gifford is 6'2", 6'3", 240. He can set an edge. Not well, but he has the size to set an edge. Whereas you just can't do it with Bethune. So that is just merely a physical limitation. Rishi, a totally fair question. Never a bad. There's no stupid questions. Only people who keep their mouths shut and keep on living in ignorance. The difference between a Sam and a Will linebacker is somewhat marginal these days, but the Sam linebacker plays on the strong side, hence the S, Sam. Will linebacker plays on the weak side, Will. And the Sam linebacker, particularly in the very common 4-3 over, which is to come over onto the strong side, so you spill that way, as I just said, sets the edge a lot. So Robert Saleh coming from the cover 3 school, not that they're going to run a lot of cover 3, but that is the foundation. That's the 4-3 over if there ever was one. And so having somebody who can go out there and set the edge at that position is critical. And Gifford isn't much, but he can do that. It's going to be Winters. If they're going to be in base, which again, you're not in base very much, but the 49ers want to play base more. If you're going to be in base, you're going to go with Fred, you're going to go with Winters, and you're going to go with Gifford. And then you're hoping that some point in the season, either Winters has stepped up to the point where now he is, a Pro Bowl caliber player. He's one of those guys. He's an impact weak side linebacker flying around the field, making plays, agent of chaos. You know what it looks like because you saw it in Dre Greenlaw. Or Nick Martin, who is certainly an agent of chaos, can get the game to slow down for him enough to where he can then do that role, even with his size limitations. But neither of those guys, Winters maybe has a better chance because he's put on some weight, but neither of those guys you want to line up at the Sam right now. And when you saw last year, they didn't have anybody who could do it. So they're running Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, who is small, as the Sam. Well, that team didn't set an edge the entire damn season. All right, what else do we want to get into? Floor's yours. I mean, I'd say 808 KMBR, but that doesn't really apply here on YouTube. Double mug, meat and potatoes in the NFL on third downs. But when you watch Brian Flores and when you watch Mike McDonald, like it is wild. It is wild. This is exactly what you're looking for in D. Winters. Step up to not liability. I mean, maybe we should shoot a little higher, but there we go. Anyone with the Raiders impress me? Good question. Thornton's speed didn't surprise me at all. He's got something there. No. If it doesn't come to mind immediately, it doesn't. Genty delivering a lot of hits was interesting. I was not a big Genty fan coming out. I watched a lot of his tape at Boise. It's cool that he made the future accountants and plumbers of America look like assholes. It's a little bit different at the NFL level, and he's going up against some guys who might be accountants and plumbers in the preseason. I don't think he's going to be a bust, but I wouldn't exactly go draft him in the first round in fantasy football drafts right here, because did you see any elusiveness? Not really. Saw him thump a guy, maybe 2 or 3, and that's cool. And there's certainly enough there to where you go, hey, you can play him. He's as wide as he is tall, man. He's fun to look at just as a running back. He's like a creative player. But I might be anchored on this one. He just did not impress me very much. Refs replayed a lot of holding calls on the Raiders. I don't know what the hell that means, Cam's dad. I'll tell you this. They do not call 80% of the penalties that happen in the preseason. And that's just fine by me. It's like a Kansas City Chiefs game. What did you think of Mac? I think he looked like a second-string quarterback, and a good one at that. I thought the interception was a tough look for him. He is slow as hell. He is physically painful to watch. I mean, when he's running, it's like, dude, does he have hamstrings? Like, how does any of that work? He runs like a 60-year-old man. He's like speed walking. But that's not his game. And he's just fine. If he doesn't throw an interception like that, he'd be starting somewhere. But he does. So the nice layered throws and stuff have to be taken with the bad. Let me put it to you this way. Last year, when Brock Purdy went down, the 49ers had a 0.0% chance of winning a football game. I know that people like to say that Josh Dobbs was good. Those people don't know what the hell they're talking about. I know that the 49ers had some weird faith in Brandon Allen. That was weird and stupid. They had a 0% chance of winning the football games that Brock Purdy didn't play in last year. And this year, they have better than a 0% chance. He's not as good as Sam Darnold, though. I'll tell you that right now. Does Curtis Robinson make the team? Not at linebacker as it stands. Always injuries, possibility. But he's a good special teams player. Had a hell of a special teams play today. He's going to push all the way up. And if something doesn't go right for somebody else, wouldn't be shocked if Curtis Robinson slides in. But he is he's not very good at linebacker. Kind of an issue. I'm not going to lie, Cam's dad. I haven't gotten deep into the tape on. I didn't get deep enough to get the Drew Moss, which was frustrating because I watched 2.5 quarters. You start to see guys that you don't know who the hell they are, and you're like, okay, well, that's enough for that. I got a lot of work to do. You put it on in the background, and I'm not watching offensive line play the same way. I watched the game on my computer on YouTube TV. I mean, I'm waiting for all 22. NFL won't help me out. Sources won't help me out for another couple hours. So I watch it with my thumb on the space bar for start and stop. And while you guys are watching it live, which I do not mean this pejoratively, all the power in the world to you, I am watching it like an insane person, stopping and starting and rewinding like a dozen times so that I can get a facsimile of all 22 in real time. The issue is that I run behind, and sometimes I mean, I'll tell you right now, I watched a game next to this today because someone had a swim practice and someone had to watch a football game with a baby. So I'm watching it. She's like, "You're an insane person." She had a great time, but I was slower on catching up today than I usually was. I'm usually like right there at the end. Like I can catch up very much at the end. When you go through all the commercial breaks, you get through halftime real fast. Like I'm watching commercial-free football. It's my own red zone, except I'm just rewinding the same play over and over again. It doesn't take seven hours for me. It takes about 3. But I didn't catch up today. In fact, I got to about halfway through the third quarter, and then I said, I just got to watch the rest of this game on 2X. And so I did not focus in on Moss. It's the first thing I'm doing once we're done here. I'm focusing in on Moss because they need Drew Moss. I don't like that sentence that it came out of my mouth, but I said it. They need Drew Moss right now. That's where they're at. Any timetable on Mikal, by the way? Listen, nobody is higher on Mikal Williams than Dieter Kurtenbach. I don't even know if the Williams family is as high on him as I am, but I will say this right now: whatever his time frame is, he's probably going to start a new time frame within a couple of days, if not just snaps. Injured guys keep getting injured, and there's a reason a talent like that was available at 11. I still have no problem with the pick. You have to take the swing there because I think I thought he was the most talented player in the draft. But the fact that he can't get through anything right now, a little disconcerting to say the least. Okay. So what now for Kiner? Practice squad likely? Yeah. I mean, honestly, for the 49ers, this is the weirdest thing to say. Bear with me. Please don't take this out of context. For the 49ers, that was a win. Because if Kiner kept looking good, they were going to have to cut him. Kind of no two ways about that. I understand. Like, Garendo's going to make this roster. They're just holding him out. I don't know what's going on with Patrick Taylor. Doesn't really matter. But, like, they were probably going to have to cut Kiner. Someone might have picked him up. Now they can stash Kiner. And maybe they have to put him, out there for everybody, but he doesn't have enough of a tape where someone's going to go and pick him up in earnest. So I think that they can practice squad him pretty easy. Was I concerned about the run game today? You bet your ass I was. I did not see a lot of positives in the run game. There was a really good outside run to the left with Burford leading the way and Jake Tonjes. Now, listen, Jake Tonjes had a holding call today. I thought Tonjes had a really good game blocking, and it makes Ross Dwelly's cut make all the more sense. They're going to carry 3, by the way, because Braden Willis has done nothing whatsoever. They're keeping him around because they want to keep giving him a shot, but I'm calling it over at tight end. I think they carry 3. It's Farrell, it's Kittle, and I think it's Tonjes, because Tonjes, his ability to line up at fullback and give you meaningful blocks is totally underrated. Totally underrated. I know that it's not perfect, but I think Tonjes, nice little player. Are we going to put out a college football players to watch video? Yes, I would love to. That would require Hutch. And clearly he's not here with us right now. He's in Hawaii. He's on vacation. Good for him. How old's the kid? I got a 2.5-year-old, actually coming up on 3, and a 6-month-old who is about the size of a 2.5-year-old, which is no surprise if you've ever seen me out in public. Jair Brown still stinks. Yep, we're 57 minutes in, and that truth still maintains. The Pooney PCL thing is the big story out of this one. We'll come back to that in a second. Williams has been working on the side. Yeah, I mean, this is why the defensive line situation is a tough go, because at defensive tackle they have no standouts whatsoever, and then at end they have a lot of question marks. And we're at the point where, like, Bryce Huff can't just be a situational pass rusher; he has to be an every down guy. Which is why Gibson having a nice game today was actually really, really positive. Pooney's out for a couple of weeks. Listen, the hell if I know. And it's not to impugn on it. Like, I don't think the 49ers have any idea. Can you believe anything that they say? Pooney will be back when Pooney is back. Until then, we're all guessing. Because, hey, last year, Christian McCaffrey would play if there was a game tomorrow. He was on a flight to Germany. So you hope the best, because Pooney's a great guy. He's a really good player. You hope the best. You don't want to rush him back. But at this point, with the state of things, I don't like this at all. I don't like this at all. A lot of antenna going up right now. Pooney getting his leg amputated as we speak. But listen, with the modern advances in prosthetics, I think he can be there for week 1. What about Valdez? Yeah, what about Valdez? I was it was a bit of a jag performance from what I saw today. He fits in with the 49ers defensive tackles right now. Any point someone wants to step up and be a flash player at defensive tackle, let's do it. Niners could use it. But Mikal Williams can't get off of blocks. He can hold a gap. I'll give him that. Niners need that. But he can't get off of blocks. I'm sorry, what did I say? Alfred Collins. Michael Williams isn't healthy. He's sort of kind of a defensive tackle. CJ West is injured. And then you just go down the line. Like, what'd the meatball do for you today? Evan Anderson? Nothing. Uninteresting. Givens, Davis, whatever. Just whatever. It's neither good nor bad. Just kind of go down the line. It's just a lot of Jags. Just a guy. And that's not the worst issue. Last year they had 2 Jags, and those were the only 2 guys. Everyone else was clearly not an NFL caliber player. Now they got like 8 of them. Someone needs to step up. They say Anderson's injured. No, he's out there. He was wearing the Guardian cap today. He was out there. You saw him. And he did. He had a lot of snaps today. And you remember any of them? I don't. This is right, Rishi. Like this defense won't be good until post-trade deadline. I mean, maybe that's kind of the goal. I feel like the coaching staff is starting to leak that out now. They're starting to actually start telling the truth now, in that they're this is the Rams model. Bunch of young guys halfway through the season will get the ground running. What do you think about Huff today? It's another question we got here. I thought Huff looked really, really solid. 12 personnel prediction holding true so far. I mean, not a bold prediction given that McVay did it last year. What McVay did last year, everyone else does this year, including Kyle. The hierarchy has been set. That said, you're also going to run a lot of that in the preseason because you only have one fullback and Tonjes. Anything else that we want to get in? Otherwise, I'll bounce and we'll talk to Jake and we'll have a great time. And we'll get you guys ready for preseason week 3 against the Chargers. And we'll send you videos and things of that nature. And you can help us out by subscribing to the channel and becoming an official sicko. If you've made it this far, you're clearly not well in the head, but you're one of ours. And we love having you. And we love talking to you. I'd love to talk to my man, Jake, but even more enjoyable talking to you today. If we want to get anything else in, let's get it in now. Otherwise, we're going to bounce because I am very hungry. And I would like to eat dinner. And I need to write another column. And we're just, this is right. That's right. We're going to go and we're going to have a drink because it's Saturday. And if you don't drink, you go enjoy some black tar heroin or something. Have fun with it. All right. I think we're 5-4 on week 9. That's a huge win. We'll do a week by week here before it gets going. I sketched one out the other day, and I surprised myself a little bit. Probably not in the way you think. And then we'll cap it with this. NFC West is going to be all 12-21 this year. Real football is back, baby. Highly recommend if you haven't already. Get your DVR. What if you got NFL Pro? Go for it. You can hit me up on the side at Dieter on Twitter. Like in the comments section. If you haven't watched the Seahawks Chiefs preseason game, watch it, and then we'll talk about it. It's like a book club now. Talk about it, and we'll watch it, and we'll talk about it because that is the most interesting thing I've seen in preseason week 2. Loved what I saw from Purdy. Loved what I saw from Pearsall. A lot of positive things to glean from the offense. Enough that you're like feeling okay about the defense, even with a bunch of Jags on the defensive line. Like no reason to light anything on fire if you're a 49ers fan right now. That game was just fine. In fact, it might have been positive. But the Seattle Seahawks, man, I've just been thinking about them nonstop. You could see on my Twitter feed, the Seahawks have me feeling some kind of way right now. That NFC West, it's going to be a ton of fun. Hope you hang out with us. Next time we're on, I don't know when Jake's going to be back. Probably shouldn't do another hour monologue until Jake comes back, and then I'll just talk over him the whole time. Appreciate you all joining me tonight. Have a great Saturday, everyone. We'll talk probably Monday. Adios.